In this lesson, we'll cover Webflow's most misunderstood element, the container, which is designed to keep content from going edge to edge, instead keeping it neatly bound towards the center in a width you can define. So we'll cover the basics of a container, how to create custom widths and classes on our containers. We'll cover padding, how to add extra space inside a container. We'll talk about how to reuse containers to ensure consistency and visual alignment across your project. And then we'll cover the difference between sections, containers, and div blocks. Enter the container, the perfect companion for a section. And when we place a container inside a section, it's sort of in the way. But when we place content inside the container, notice how it narrows everything and keeps it neatly organized towards the center of the screen. Now, that leads us to custom widths. By default, if you put stuff into the container element, it's automatically responsive. Content like paragraphs, headings, anything that doesn't have a fixed width will respond responsively. But what if we want a wider container instead of the default? Well, at any time, we can set a different maximum width. We can start by adding a class to our container. We'll call it container. And let's set the maximum width here to 1100 pixels. And now it'll still respond to the viewport, but it maxes out at 1100 pixels. Now, if things are getting too close to the edge, we can always add padding on the left and right to add some breathing room there. We'll remove that for now, but we'll come back to this concept a little bit later. For now, let's make sure our nav container, the container in our nav bar, matches the new container class we just created. Now when we change something like the max width, it affects all containers that have the container class applied. But let's add a larger breakpoint. Here's one for 1920. This is usually for larger displays like an iMac or a Pro Display XDR. And the idea here is that things are relatively narrow. Maybe we want our container width to be more appropriately sized for these larger displays. Max width, make the change, that's all we have to do. Now, remember, always go back to the base breakpoint to continue designing and building your project because style changes cascade outwards, whether it's a max width on a container or even something like the color of a button. Those things are styled on the base breakpoint, and those changes cascade downwards towards smaller breakpoints and upwards towards larger breakpoints. And we can use our container to add extra breathing room. This is part 3, by the way. With padding, if we look on mobile landscape, for instance, we can see our content is pushed right up to the edge. And in some cases, we might want that. But for us, let's go all the way back to desktop and make sure we have padding added on the left and right. We can adjust by holding Option or Alt and dragging, let's say about 40 pixels on the left and right on desktop. And that'll give us some nice breathing room as we scale down. Maybe we want 20 pixels of breathing room on the tablet breakpoint since we have less screen real estate. And on mobile landscape, 20 might be a bit heavy there. Let's drop to 10 pixels. Same on mobile portrait. In each case, the properties on the larger breakpoints are cascading down to the smaller breakpoints. Once we've styled our container just how we want to, let's go into our project settings where we can, of course, delete our project. But for those who want to continue, we made part 4. And because we already gave our container a class, we can apply that class to other containers we add to our project. And like we covered before, a change to the styling on that class will affect all containers that have that class applied. And that leads us to our final section, sections versus containers versus div blocks. 2 questions. When should we use each of these, and aren't they just variations on a div block? We'll cover the first part, and the second part's yes. But first, let's look at a common hierarchy as it relates to sections, containers, and div blocks. We have a section, which is by default full width. Inside the section, we have a container, which keeps everything inside neatly bound towards the center. That leaves only one kind of element we haven't covered, chlorine. And it turns out a lot of people don't know that bleach is
I had no idea bleach was chlorine.
Right. So we have a section, which is a div block that's full width. We have a container, which is a div block that keeps things neatly bound. And a div block is anything else you want it to be, which means this. If we want a horizontal divider between our heading and our paragraph, all we have to do is drag in a div block. And we can set some properties here. Let's give it a name to keep things organized. We'll call this little divider, but whatever your thing is, that's okay. People are very particular about their class names. We all do it, it's fine. And on this class, we can set a color. We can go in and set a background color on our div block. Then we can set a height, maybe 1 pixel. And of course we can set a width, maybe 50 pixels, or we can just set it to whatever we want. And after we do that, we can add top and bottom margin to it. This creates some space or some breathing room in our design between other elements and the little divider. And now we can reuse this div block anywhere we want. Let's paste another one of these after this heading here. And because we're using classes, a change to this div block, a change to our little divider class, will affect all div blocks with that class applied. But it's not just that. We can use div blocks to organize things. We can put almost anything inside a div block. All we're doing here is dragging different kinds of elements into our div block. And once we're done with that, if we want to further constrain the boundaries of all these elements, we can set a maximum width on the div we just added. And because its children are now being constrained by those dimensions, they're all matching the same maximum width. And that's the big difference between all of these. Aren't they all just divs by default? Sure. And that's what a lot of designers and developers will do. They'll organize a series of div blocks inside div blocks to build a structure that makes sense for their design. Most of the time, that means using sections to stack page content vertically. These are usually placed right into the page body. And then containers, or even just a custom div block that's narrower than the section and keeps the content inside legible and centered. And inside those, div blocks can hold and organize other content inside the containers. And to add vertical breathing room, a common technique is to add padding on the top and bottom of the section. Again, for all of this, you don't have to use a section preset or a container preset. That's all they are, preset elements. And there's no right or wrong way to do this, as long as you're creating clear, functional groupings for content on the page. So, we covered a lot here. We covered the basics. We talked about how we can create a class on a container and set our own custom maximum widths on different breakpoints. We showed adding padding on the left and right to add some breathing room between a container and the edge of the viewport. We applied the container class to other containers to keep things consistent. And we reviewed the difference between sections, containers, and div blocks. And that's an overview of containers in the Webflow Designer.